So thanks for joining this webinar on client communication. We really wanted to pull this together to try and give our partners some practical tips and tools that can help you, um, with your own businesses. And hopefully you find this session helpful. Just to introduce myself, my name is Alex Concannon. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Valiant, and let's dive in. So, what today is really about is building a simple marketing engine that can help you attract new clients, but also ensures that you're warming your prospects, driving repeat business, and hopefully shortening your deal cycles. There are five kind of areas which we're going to cover off. So, marketing hygiene, for a little bit of, we won't spend too long here, but just covering off a few foundations. Um, we often get a lot of questions around where email fits into the mix nowadays, what the role of other channels like WhatsApp can be, how to leverage LinkedIn and other social platforms as a demand generation engine, and then, as is the hot topic at the moment, like how businesses, in particular small businesses, can leverage AI better in their business. Uh, you should see on the public chat, if you have any questions, please shoot them through into there. We'll try and cover off as many as possible in between at the end of sections so that they seamlessly cover off with the content. But then we'll also have time at the end to go through questions in a lot more detail. So just to kick off with the basics, I'm sure everyone's got this covered off, but it's always worth a refresh. Um, there are three really simple things that every small business should have set up and also continue to monitor in order to, help attract people. The first of all is your website. And I know it sounds, yes, there will be a recording as well. I know a website sounds very basic, but it's not just about having a website, but also the quality of the website that you are putting out there. It's always worth asking the question, are we standing out from competitors visually? Are you clearly stating what you can help with? And is your website in language, both in terms of written language, but also visual communication that speaks to your audience? There are so many new tools in this space, whether it's like Figma or Webflow, that have really strong design builders that you can even just use natural language prompts now to spin up a better looking website that, if you haven't revisited it for a while, I definitely recommend doing that. Again, another hygiene factor is having your Google business profile. One, this just ensures that you're being seen locally. One of the trends that we're seeing a lot of at Valiant is that people are doing more localized search. Your Google business profile aids your SEO. And it's also just critical to keep up to date with like opening time, service offering, and any other critical information there. And the final piece of marketing hygiene is reviews. We use these a lot at Valiant. Again, they just multiply trust. But we're also seeing as well that they do help a lot more with SEO and particularly AI driven search. So whether it's Trustpilot or Google reviews, these platforms are becoming more and more important. And I think the thing that I just want to stress with, reviews is how to make the most of them is to not, not have them as an ad hoc or occasional process, but try and build a system where whenever you settle or work with a client, that they automatically receive a prompt to, you know, give a review, because it's an incredibly powerful tool. And I know I spoke a little bit about the website, but when I was planning this webinar, I started looking at a few websites in the area local to me, both from commercial finance, mortgage broking, and accounting. And I live in the inner west, and there's a lot of people who play in that space. What was really interesting was all the websites kind of look the same, and this is partly a nature of stock stock imagery, and a lot of the same stock imagery is accessible to the same people. Um, I'm not saying you need to go out and start doing custom photography and designing from scratch, but there are resources out there which can significantly give you a different look and feel. This is by no means an exhaustive list, but here are two options which we use at Valiant in order to try and find a slightly different look and feel to what many competitors are using. One of them is called stills.com. One of them is called Death to Stock Photo. They have different price points, but what you'll find if you browse through these is the quality of the images is, at a more editorial level. It's a really simple way to help your website and then any other advertising communication stand out from others in the industry. And then the final kind of bit of marketing basics is the marketing stack itself. I'm sure, well, I know from conversations I've had with other partners that a lot of people talk about the breadth of tools that are there. And this is by no means a exhaustive list again, but they broadly come into three buckets. So we need to look at tools that are going to help with customer relationship management, tools that are going to help with content creation, and tools that are going to help with content distribution. In the past, this was very easy. You could run a spreadsheet, create EDMs and by EDMs, like emails in Word, and then distribute them through an email provider or just on your website. However, nowadays you've got this huge mix of all-in-one solutions like your HubSpots and MailChimps. You have specialized, more niche solutions that can do certain areas, but not all of them. For example, like Monday has a CRM tool, but also has project management tools. For content creation, you have the AI platforms, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT, TikTok, LinkedIn, Canva. And then in terms of distribution, there's probably never been more variety of channels to navigate than there is right now. Whether it is your website, TikTok, WhatsApp, Google search, or again, your kind of automated email programs. The one kind of tip that I would give with your marketing stacks is keep it simple to begin with, and work out what works for your business. At Valiant, we tend to do a lot with email, a lot with SMS, and more recently, we've been investing a lot of time into LinkedIn. And I'll cover this off a little bit more detail further out on the presentation, like how that LinkedIn process has worked and what some of the results have been from that. But it all comes down to finding the stack that works for your business, finding the messaging and channels that work best for your customer base, and then really tailoring and doubling down on channels that work best for your audience. So, where email actually fits. So my point of view is that the role of email has fundamentally changed. We see at Valiant, email used to be a very, very, very strong lead driver for us. We would send out an email and we would typically get, tens, if not hundreds of responses back. However, if you just look at your own inboxes, you probably find that they are full of marketing communications. It's harder to get cut through. There are more tools now being added on top of email to filter and auto reply and auto open. So how we're now thinking about email is It definitely works best for existing clients and where we have really, really warm prospects in our marketing funnels. It's a great medium still for detailed updates. So when we're doing information on new reports that we might have, when there are rate updates from either the RBA or from our lenders, or if we have very detailed structured offers that we want to get out, that's where we continue to use email. But we're also starting to move away and play in a few other channels. And that leads me to kind of our first new playbook, which is using WhatsApp as a channel. Just to get a sense, if you could give a reaction, maybe a thumbs up, like how many people are using WhatsApp at the moment as part of their regular marketing comms? Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of thumbs up. I think WhatsApp is probably uh, it's probably one of the easiest, quickest wins from this presentation, and one that I uh, would thoroughly recommend investing time and effort into. We're doing this at Valiant at the moment as well, because if you take that problem of cluttered inboxes and email, WhatsApp can become a channel which overtakes that, becomes a lightweight mobile first newsletter. It's kind of like email, but it has higher visibility. It's much more intimate and it's less crowded. It works really, really well for small businesses that have that you're not trying to broadcast to hundreds of thousands of people. But it still allows you to have a one-to-many communication approach. It allows followers to opt in, and it's very, very scalable. But yeah. So I know a lot of people have WhatsApp and will use it for um, like individual one-to-one messaging. Uh, what I'll go into next is there are a couple of different ways to use WhatsApp. You can use it as one-to-one. You can do broadcast lists. I'm talking specifically about creating a WhatsApp channel. By creating a WhatsApp channel, it will give you this ability to, um, post newsletters or information to all of your prospects and customers, and just keep them in the loop with critical information that you think is important for them. And so how to get started, as I said, we wanted to try and keep this as practical as possible. So it's not just use WhatsApp and then try to figure it out. To create a WhatsApp channel yourself, first of all, you need to create a WhatsApp business account. This is fairly straightforward. Once you have a WhatsApp business account, there will be a button in there which says create channel. You could call this like capital A updates AU or Alex's weekly finance brief. You write in there a short description, just telling your marketing prospects and customers exactly what to expect. It might be something along the lines of short weekly updates on lender appetite, rate shifts, and funding opportunities for SMEs, no spam, and 1 to 2 posts per week. Using these descriptions to set up expectations is just a nice way to ensure that you're not um, irritating people. You then generate a link and you can share that via your email signatures, LinkedIn, SMS insights, website footers, however you kind of reach your prospects. The one thing I will note, and this is why Valiant's WhatsApp channel hasn't actually launched just yet. We're in the process still of doing this, but don't forget to update your privacy policies. You'll often find your privacy policies will cover marketing communications from email or SMS, but if you haven't included WhatsApp, it's worth adding that in. This is a really strong channel that is growing in popularity. You'll see a lot of brands starting to do more in the WhatsApp space. I personally got a little bit addicted to the Olympics WhatsApp channel, which was sending through just updates on how people did overnight. And it's just a really nice tool that is cutting through when everyone else is sending emails. Are there any other questions on WhatsApp before I move on to the next kind of playbook? So just a really quick summary on this. So WhatsApp channels are a quick win. The way to think about it is building this mobile first newsletter. If you do start to have success with a mobile first newsletter, as I mentioned, the thing about channels is that they are not dynamic. So people won't be able to respond or reply to a WhatsApp channel. There are then other products within that WhatsApp business account that you could start to tap into. So you could create a group, or you could create more interactive broadcast lists. So, but this would be the easiest first step in a way that you can control the content that comes out and also comes back in. The other new playbook two is really adding value on social. We had a partners event probably a year ago, and when I was talking to everyone, most of the questions were around, should I have a TikTok? Like, how can I do more in social? Should I be investing in an agency? And again, there are no silver bullets, but what I would say is when it comes to social, start with the audience, not the platform. If you know that a lot of your audience are consuming and interacting with content on TikTok, then maybe that is the right platform for you. If most of your clients are uh, active on LinkedIn, then that could be the right platform for you. When we were thinking about the broader stack, there are so many channels that you can be out there. It can be a little bit overwhelming in terms of, well, how can I, as a small business owner, create and curate this content on scale across so many platforms? I don't have the time. But what is really interesting and powerful at the moment is there are so many tools out there that are speeding up this process and removing the heavy lifting from yourself to make it much easier to actually deliver this across multiple platforms. When it comes to planning content, again, at Valiant, we typically focus on four key areas. And this is what we typically find business owners engage with. So the first pillar is around what's changing in their industry. Um, we do deep dives regularly on some of our core industries, whether it's construction or hospitality, just to make sure that we're aware and that we're kind of helping them with the problems that are very specific to them. We build a lot of content around funding timing and opportunities. So when we are working with lenders, when we see product changes, when we see rate changes, uh, we're able to pass that information on to a lot of our customers. We focus a lot on common mistakes and just trying to help our customers and prospects with problems that they deal with day to day. And then we do a lot of work on real deal scenarios which are de-identified. These are four really simple pillars that can that any partner can pick up and start generating content on. And as I mentioned, there are real opportunities at the moment to scale your workflow with AI. And what I mean by this is that there are platforms. We're using a platform today called Riverside. There are other platforms out there like Descript. I am not getting any um, kickbacks or any of these. These are just platforms that we are using ourselves and I'm most familiar with. There are also a host of others that we're not using. But what these AI editing tools are doing is they're taking what used to require a lot of manpower and a lot of time and a lot of knowledge in terms of editing tools and shooting and photography and lighting and transcription, and they're doing a lot of that themselves. So for example, like when we record some of our videos on Riverside, it will auto generate all our captions. It will apply our branding to it because we have uploaded that into the platform. It will trim dead space and tighten pacing. I know a big barrier to people recording is that they feel that they get a little awkward in front of the carrier, in front of the camera, that they don't necessarily, um, uh, you know, the pauses feel bigger when you're actually talking. These platforms can get rid of all of that, so you don't need to worry about it. it can extract all the text and turn it into a LinkedIn post for you to share. Uh, some of the platforms can actually start to create graphics that could be put across Meta or LinkedIn or within your emails. They'll pull out quotes and key stats. They can turn it into email paragraphs, and you can also use them to create these WhatsApp ready summaries. So this is how like one simple tool can start to give you that ability to create content that's able to be published across multiple platforms very, very quickly. And this is just an example in terms of what I mean by time. And this is probably still a very conservative timeline, but we're not talking days or weeks. We're talking hours in terms of this process. Uh, you could get up in the morning, record 3 short videos, upload them into an AI editor. As I said, we've kind of used 3, and we use 3 here for various purposes at Valiant, whether it's Descript, CapCut, or Riverside. They'll auto-generate the text and transcript, and the AI copy tools will be able to create 3 posts that can very quickly be sent out across LinkedIn, a WhatsApp summary, and also tailored to industry variations. And how we've been using this is to try and turn some channels into, for us, a big focus has been on LinkedIn. And we've focused on this idea of a LinkedIn snowball effect. So how we used to use LinkedIn was very much as a lead gen tool. It was for cold outreach. It was identifying prospects and the sales team sending them a message or a note saying, hey, are we able to help you with your commercial finance needs? What we've now focused on is turning LinkedIn into a broadcast channel where we're actually more focused on growing a following, because whenever we now post, people comment or people like or people repost, and then that commenters network sees, it gives us more reach, more people then connect and follow the brand, and more people discover who Valiant is. The chart on the right is an example of our actual total followers over time. We started doing this 12 months ago, and in the space of 12 months have added just under 4,000 total followers onto the brand. And in terms of our cadence, we're only publishing 1 to 2 times a week. So this is just a really simple process that we've been doing, but we've been kind of rethinking about how we think about the channel, ensuring that we do it with consistency, and then slowly building up. You'll see a few step changes in terms of our follower count. Everyone loves the idea of going viral, and by no means with these viral posts, but you will naturally find that there are certain posts that people will engage with just more or more strongly. And those are just 2 examples of 2 posts where they did get a lot of traction and significantly increased our reach and following. Are there any questions? So just to summarize this, so leverage AI tools to scale your content across platforms, and don't just try and source leads, but really focus on consistently building a broadcast audience through your own channels. Are there any questions on how you can better leverage social in your businesses? No. The third one, there's 2 more playbooks. Um, I actually have, thankfully, I actually have a slide in the next section on AI, which will help with that content piece. So I'll come back to that question on how we actually come up with content. New playbook 3 is, and this is a trend that isn't just happening in our business. It isn't just happening in Australia. There's this global macro trend towards micro events are coming back. We have been leaning in and leveraging them at Valiant, as simple as just coffee networking catch ups. You're seeing other health and wellness brands doing it, who they jumped on like the run club trend. Bigger broadcast brands are doing it, where they're running their own micro events. And what's driving this is that when everything is digital, all your competitors are digital, everyone's on Google, everyone's competing for the same audience in the same space. Um, what they're finding is it's actually getting more effective to go back to being real, being in person, but also not spending huge amounts of money. And we, as I said, at Valiant, we're definitely leaning into this trend, and it's something that everyone on this call can also do for your own businesses. It's a really simple micro event playbook that they're not overly complicated. The key thing that we found is venue. Um, so when coming up with one of these micro events, the first thing is just keep the agenda tight. They're probably going to happen before, at lunch, or after work. You might want to make it like a 15-minute market update, providing funding scenarios, and then having like an open discussion with everyone who attends. Um, the whole purpose of this is to create an environment people are getting where people are getting access to not just your information, but the community of people that you also have access to. But what is really critical that we found is venue, just don't do it at your office. We've done a few micro events ourselves and learned this the hard way that uh, people don't just want to come into another office and it feel like a sales meeting. So where we've had the best success is going to a local cafe, organizing something at a brewery, um, booking space at a co-working space, or even just doing it at the pub. After the event, making sure that you're connecting on LinkedIn, like adding people onto your WhatsApp channels, sending summary emails, and booking one-to-one follow-ups after that. And so where this is becoming really powerful that we're finding is actually reaching specific audiences. So there are definite locations, there are different industry groups that we know that we want to work with, and by bringing these micro events to them, we're getting a lot more traction. If you have a very local focus in your area, it can be a very powerful way to uh, actually get a bit of cut through with local prospects in your area, and ensuring that you feel a little bit different and you're not just a pin on a Google map when someone is searching for some business support. Now, one of the questions was, how do we actually come up with content? And what we focus on is engaging content really starts with having your finger on the pulse of what matters now. Now, this can be really hard to stay on top of trends. You know, Historically, it's required like large content teams. It's required a lot of effort and research in terms of trawling what's going on in the news, what is trending on Google, what is trending on social platforms. You've probably heard of, or maybe even investigated yourself, tools like social listening. But a lot of work went into actually finding out, well, which topics are trending and which ones are relevant to me, and how can I actually tap in and create content that is relevant to these areas. I'm going to talk a little bit about AI now, because this is one of the areas where AI is very easily helping us keep our finger on the pulse in terms of what topics are trending. And you don't need to be familiar with coding. You don't need, multiple tools and, huge amounts of budget to do this. This is very cheap. You can build an easy research agent in the space of 2 minutes. And this is a very tangible example that I did yesterday. If anyone on here is using the Google Work Suite, and they have access to Gemini, Gemini has a section called Gems where you can create these little agents that will do anything you tell it to do. So yesterday I created an agent for a commercial finance content manager. How I did this, the first step was I used Gemini itself to create a prompt for it. So I asked it, can you create me a prompt that will assume that you are a content manager and identify trending topics in the space? It was then able to turn that into a much more exhaustive and detailed prompt of along the lines of like, you are a senior content manager at a commercial finance company operating nationally in Australia, serving SME business owners across construction, hospitality, manufacturing, professional services. What I told it to then do is search Google Trends, search Reddit for trending topics, look for trending hashtags on TikTok, and each week identify the top 3 trending topics in commercial finance that are gaining traction right now. Use this information to create a detailed content brief for each topic suitable for a short form and long form video and a long form SEO blog article. Once you had that prompt, I went over to Gemini Gems, copied it in there. So we're on the middle screen now. And you can see here, it says content research, research trending topics. And I just pasted that prompt straight in there. And then just to test it, I asked it to run trending topics. And this is what the output said. So it said, as a senior content manager for a national commercial finance team, I have synthesized the current market data for March. It identified 4 key topics. So payday super panic. So the ATO is actively disclosing debts over 100K to credit bureaus, a construction pivot, and a rate hike reaction. It then gave, as I said, the output. So it created a brief, it created suggested content topics, and can even create suggested scripts. So that took two minutes to create. It now exists, and we use it on we use this, but we were using something similar before on a day-to-day perspective. Would you say Gemini is better than ChatGPT or Claude? To be honest, they keep moving. It's like a leapfrog race at the moment. So you can't necessarily say one is better than the other. It does come down to a little bit in terms of what platforms you use day to day. For example, at Valiant, most of our work suite is done on the Google Suite, and Gemini just integrates really easily into that. So it's really strong. Claude, a lot of our engineers use that because it does seem to be better from an engineering perspective. ChatGPT is probably one of the ones that I personally and we use in the business the least. I think it's a little more disconnected from some of the other areas. Although saying that, I do find ChatGPT is quite strong when it comes to writing and getting tone of voice. So yeah, there is no right answer. I think it comes down to you know what you use day to day in your workflow, and also a little bit in terms of how much time. So this gem is very easy to do. It's very simple. Now with Claude, I'm sure many people have heard of Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork can do something incredibly similar to this and probably a little bit more powerfully. The only problem with Claude Cowork, though, is it does require a little bit more technical skill because you do need to not just create a prompt, but you probably need to create or download skill libraries. You need to be a little bit more prescriptive in terms of what it does and where it does on your desktop. But there are pros and cons across the board. It again just comes down to what kind of works for you and your business best. Are there any other questions around AI workflows and research agents, because I know that well, just for the purpose of this webinar, I've only really focused on it from a content creation tool, but there are, multiple applications for these that are fairly similar. So, yeah, just to summarize, like AI tools do make it really easy to stay on the pulse with content that people care about, and then can also then be used to turn that insight into actual content that people can use. And I think finally on that idea of content, like we're doing a lot of this ourselves at Valiant, and one of the things that we're trying to do more so this year, we started doing it last year, but we want to keep building on it, is uh, stopping the level of duplication. So we want to try and provide more content and insights and resources for our partners so that maybe you don't need to worry so much about building content yourself. Um, I can definitely recommend like checking our LinkedIn posts and blog articles and YouTube videos, because we're starting to accelerate the volume that we're putting out there. And we don't mind if you use, steal, borrow, repurpose anything that we're putting out there. Quarterly, we've been doing our SME Pulse, which is a snapshot of marketing trends and lending shifts, along with what they mean for clients. We recently released our annual SME State of Lending report. And again, this is something that we're trying to do more of. And on our website, we're always updating our partner toolkit. This includes ready to use guides, templates, and FAQs. So there's also a suite of content resources available to any of our partners that exists within the Valiant ecosystem as well. And I guess finally, um, uh, we're always available for a chat on the phone. So if you do need to access subject matter experts from the lending team, we're only a phone call away. All the contact details are on our website and on our on this webinar as well, actually. So please don't hesitate to give us a call. And so that's it from me. I guess, were there any other questions or areas that people want to talk about that either I have covered off, or are there any areas that I haven't covered off that you're really interested in understanding a bit more about? No? Okay. Well, thank you everyone for attending. We will be sharing around Um, we'll be sharing around a copy of this webinar. As I mentioned, our contact details are here. So if you need to or want to chat to us, just please give us a call. Thank you and have a great week.